Now you might wonder, who are some of these scientific people that give the government, give advice to the politicians, the policy makers, of what is good for us in the way of water sustainability, our water catchment area. You see, there's various scientific people that offer their scientific advice. Now, the other day I went to a presentation at the Griffith University Health Department, and this was a forum of 3 or 4 people that gave us a presentation which is supported by the state government, the national government, the International Health Risk Assessment, and they said it's from a world-class foundation and environmental toxicology. Now, there was one particular lady there. Her name was Professor Heather Chapman, and I took some copies of some of the slides that went up, and I'm going to show you, and you have a look at what you think about what she presented as being a worthy person to give our politician the advice on what is in the waterways and what is good and what is bad, or whether they can tell which is good and which is bad. Have a look at this with me. We're not only concerned about the fluoride poison that they want to throw down our throats and ruin our drinking water. I would ask you to make a copy of these videos, these DVD clips, because if you don't, I think you're going to find that sooner or later they're going to take them off the internet, and you won't be able to see this evidence, because this evidence is exposing their lies, and this evidence is exposing what sinister schemes they have behind what they're not telling you. You know, we have toxicology reforms and all of these scientists who are telling the governments that they know what is good for us, and they're telling their governments that they can tell what's in the water. Now, also, part of this waterwatch.com, you know, we've got fish dying in our creeks and rivers by the millions, and we've got the barrier reef, they say, is dying because of global warming. No, it's not. It's nothing to do with global warming that's killing the fish or killing the barrier reef. It's all about chemicals. And do you think they want to stop putting the chemicals in their water? No, they don't. And do you think they know what's in the waters? Do you think they can measure it? No, they can't. Have a look at this with me. Research Coalition and the International Toxicology. So this is a very important person that gives the advice to the government as to what should happen to our water, what's in it, and everything else about our water. When you have a look at the slide of the presentation on your screen now, you will notice that these scientists divided up the known chemicals, number 1, known unknowns, number 2, and unknown unknowns, number 3. In other words, you would expect that these scientists would give advice to our government, to give advice to our politicians to make a suitable policy. This is about our waterways, and this is also about the water that we drink and what is in it. You would expect that they would be able to give you a proper analysis of what's in it, what's poisonous, and how much is in there, and whether or not it is safe to drink. But have a look at the bigger circle on this one. It tells you that there is unknown unknowns. In other words, there are chemicals that they admit that they cannot measure, they cannot analyse, and these are the unknown unknowns. Now, I ask the question, Premier Bligh, what do you do with this advice that you get from scientific people that have unknown unknowns? How do you equate that to us when you force us to drink poisonous water, when you force us to tell us that the wastewater is going to be safe? How can you prove that it's safe? Your scientific advisors say that there are unknown unknowns. Now, in the previous clip you've seen that they have admitted that they cannot measure everything that's going to go into the water. And there's such a lot of chemicals that they will not know if they're there or not, because they can't measure them. Now have a look at this graph with me. Over here on the left, where you can say I'm pointing to, we have some people, and it says here, we've got industrial waste, paint solvents, radioactivity, lead, cadmium, arsenic, mercury, and the factories. All this is going to go into your recycled sewage water. Then it comes over here. Out of the hospitals, you've got water coming from chemotherapy, radioactivity, cancer drugs, contaminated blood body parts, AIDS, virus, HIV, golden, staph. Over here we've got formaldehyde, drained blood and body waste out of the morgues. Then over here, out of the crematoriums, we've got the poison air and the mercury and the viruses. Then over here, out of the fluoride sewage, we've got S7 poison that you wouldn't give to anybody, hydrofluorosilicic acid, HFS. Then you've got chloramine, radium lead, arsenic, polonium, mercury, and human faces. And of course, then it goes to here and it's supposed to be all filtered out, but they can't tell you if there's still something left in there because they've admitted that they can't measure it. Then of course, it comes down to the water here that you're going to drink. You get sick, you end up lying down sick, and you end up back in hospital. What do you think of that? That's the real world of what you're expected to have in recycled water.